Hi, everybody. We are our podcast recording for Z Trigger is about to begin. We are doing some Xenosaga tonight, but we're going to be recording a podcast as well.
Again?
Yes, again, because I need to get my other HDMI cable down here for streaming. So, yes, Xenosaga. God help me. Alright. Goddamn pop filter.
Yeah, you tell that pop filter who's boss.
You know what we're going to do? We're going to have some more pop filter adjustments with Brad here.
That's right, buddy. You show that turn who's boss.
This thing is such a pain in my ass.
You know what I'm looking forward to
That goes
most?
well with that last comment.
Yes, it did.
The Name of the Wind 10th anniversary. You know what I'm looking forward to most with that?
What's that?
All the fucking illustrations that are being done.
That will be very cool.
If you haven't, they have some of them posted, and they look so damn nice.
I'll have to look at them later, but not right now. We're not doing a book show tonight, so I'll have to do it later.
Yeah, and our next book show is
Next week.
freaking Star Wars.
Oh god, I have to read that, don't I?
Yeah, I do too. I haven't even started it.
Brandon's the bravest of us. He's already started it. Alright,
Yes,
let's
and it's not very good.
shocking. Alright, well let's get this podcast recording going. Okay. Brandon, can you do circulation on the live stream? To all of our social media stuff. You gonna take care of that, right?
I'm going there now.
Yeah, just confirm for me that you're doing that. Alright. And I will start the show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Z Trigger podcast. My name is William Hill.
I'm Brandon Harris.
I'm Trent.
And we have another fantastic show for you this evening. If you are watching us on YouTube right now, you can see us playing some you can see me playing Xenosaga 2 again. And
Again?
Again. 'Cause that's what I played last week. Much to Brandon's frustration, I'm going to be continuing my run on that tonight.
I don't have to watch it.
Well, you should watch me. Do you know why? Because you might be the only person who's watching me if that's the case.
I'll leave it open.
There you go. Make it enticing for somebody else to come in and watch. Listen to us discuss video games. Such as whatever Brandon's been playing this week, for example. What have you been playing this week, Brandon?
I've been playing two things. One I started today, and one I've been playing, I'm going to say all week, but I don't exactly remember when I bought it. And I think it might have been last week. Anyway, I'll start with the thing I played today because I can't really go into too many details about it because it is something to be experienced. I play through one of the many ways of playing through the Stanley Parable. That game is fucking bonkers. That thing is an oddity. If I'm not like a big fan of walking simulators. I'm not against them. They can, in this case, show that it can be quite the experience, and if done creatively enough, even the experience of walking through it can add a little bit of puzzle element, or basically, you're this guy named Stanley, and you have this voiceover that's narrating your story and things you're doing. And, sometimes he'll say stuff before you actually do it. Say, like, you go into this room and it says, Stanley is going to a meeting, and, he takes the door on the left. Well, you say, fuck you, and take the door on the right. So the narrator's like, well, Stanley decided that he was going to take a detour. And however you choose to do certain things, it can really mess with things. Like, one point, I kept going against what the narrator said, and I ended up, he started, poking me about it. It's like, you need to do this for her. I'm not the bad guy here. I'm trying to help you, and you need to do it for her. And so it eventually leads you to this room. Well, it actually sort of teleports you in a way. and you hear this woman talking in the background behind this door, and the door opens, and this like the store mannequins where they put clothing on, all of a sudden just appears in front of the door, and the narrator just becomes a giant dick, and it says, like, haha, did you honestly think someone was waiting at home for you? What makes you so fucking special? And so it makes you go into this room, locks you in, and proceeds to have this horrible, like, experience just making fun of the fact that you do whatever the game tells you to do. Though at this point in time, you have no other choice. It's like you push the button that's on the screen or nothing will happen. And eventually it's like, I even tried to keep him from killing himself. And, it just says push button to kill yourself.
Oh my God.
What happens is all of a sudden the narrator resets the game. At least you think. It just, this keeps happening, and for whatever reason, I've never exactly done what the narrator wants me to do. I'm like, fuck you, I want choice. So, as you keep doing this, he keeps getting frustrated and keeps resetting things. And as he keeps resetting things, things just keep getting more out of whack. And then eventually it gets pretty damn bizarre. But honestly, that's the most I can say about it, because you really do have to go and experience it for yourself and see what your story turns out to be, because it really does change based on what you decide to do. And honestly, to me, that's probably one of the best ways to do one of these styles of games. I know a lot of them, like Gone Home, was mostly, just walking around and finding things and learning about what happened, where this actually, it's not a lot of gameplay element, but it does have gameplay elements. It does change the game depending on what you decide to do. So I can see why people point to this one as they say, see, they can be good. Look at this one. So yeah, that was what I played today. But throughout the week, on and off, through various amounts of time, I've been playing Elder Scrolls Online. I picked it up at Walmart last weekend, probably last Friday, I can't remember. But so I've been playing that, and I gotta say, based on what I played so far, I don't know if it's just been heavily modified from when it originally released, but I don't see why people had such negative thoughts about it, because it feels a lot like an Elder Scrolls game. It's, you could think of it as sort of a way like it's Skyrim minus the graphics, because the graphics aren't quite the same. But a lot of the mechanics that are in Skyrim are in this one, just modified to fit an MMO infrastructure. Like, in Elder Scrolls, you can go out and be a thieving bastard. In Elder Scrolls Online, you can do the same thing. As long as you're not caught, you can go steal and murder and do all you want.
Rape and pillage.
Can't do that. You can pillage, just no rape. But I mean, so far, I mean,
that is a boundary I really hope games never try to cross.
Yeah. We already have the Custer game, so.
Yeah.
That is essentially a rape game, isn't it?
Yep.
Damn those filthy 80s programmers. Yeah.
The quests in the game, though, so far I have to say, are nice. The typical MMO fare, at least post World of Warcraft, because I never really played EverQuest. Most of them are like, go to this forest and kill 10 of these and come back and talk to me. Well, that does not appear in this game.
That's a plus.
Like a lot of it's like, there's these elf pirates that are, fucking up our shores. Help us take care of them. But instead of killing somebody, it's like oh, they're like doing this ritual to cause a fucking hurricane. So you're going around stopping these mages from causing a hurricane, killing everybody. And it has a little plot to it. It was sort of surprising. There's yet to be any fetch quests. I mean, there are sort of some fetch quests, but they're not like I want this item and I will give you money. Like the most recent one was like, I need you to go to this guy and pick up this item. And the reason why this person's doing that is because they're trying to kill the queen, and you end up being framed for having these items. I was like, hey, it's an interesting twist on the traditional fetch quest. At least it has some merit to it, and it has some story to it. Another good thing, everything's voice acted. Thank God. I can't tell you how much of MMOs, they give you a
little bit of flavor text, and it's not even worth reading.
Yeah, and not only that, you have to read it yourself. Yeah, I understand. I'm not, alien to that. I did play games back in PlayStation before there was voice acting, but back then the text was well written and it wasn't so damn dry.
And also wasn't so small. I swear one of the biggest problems I've found with modern gaming in some cases is that the text is unbelievably tiny.
It is. And they use that to their advantage to give you books to read for the flavor text of the quest, which is stupid. Here, however, there can be a little bit of detail, but it's all voice acted. And in the modern gaming, you really should have voice acting for any type of AAA title. If you don't have that, then and you're going to give me a lot of text, then don't be surprised when I ignore your story. I'm generally not interested in modern day story writing because most of it's not very good. So I tend to ignore that. The only thing that's not voice acted in this game, of course, are the books. You still have the lore books littered all over the place in ESO, which is fine. That's to be expected for this type of game. So in this particular MMO, if you don't have the adventure DLC, which there's a lot of different DLCs to try and make you buy so you can have certain freedoms. In this game, however, you have 3 factions and your races are divided among the factions. So you just can't be whatever race for whatever faction unless you buy the adventure DLC, which allows you to be any race with any faction, which is stupid.
That is stupid because they're selling you the ability to have a choice.
Yes, exactly. Which honestly, I don't see how it really matters. I mean, the only thing that really changes is, I guess, where you start. Depending on what faction you pick, it changes where you start. Which, I mean, whatever. That to me is not a big deal. As long as I can play whatever race, I guess I really don't care what faction it is because it doesn't have any bearing on the game. At least so far, it doesn't. So with that, typically in most of these games you have a class system, and you do in this, but your classes aren't exactly locked into a certain thing. Like, say you want to be a mage. Well, typically mages are pushovers. In terms of like if you hit them once, they're dead. Not here. If you choose to be a mage that's also a tank, you can do that. Or if you want to do a mage that happens to be a healer, even though there's a healing class, you can do that too. It also helps that any class can wear any type of armor, and it's not going to have any negative drawbacks. There are, based on how you level up in this game, which is a lot like old Elder Scrolls, if you swing your sword enough, at enemies, your sword levels increase. Everything has a level bar. Your crafting, your sword swinging, you have 3 different skill trees basically that you can go through, and each individual thing in those also has leveling things. There's an awful lot of leveling. I'm so glad they just don't throw it all at you at once because that would be really overwhelming. Instead what they do is they don't give it to the skill tree to you until you've done something in that tree. It's like two-handed weapon, two-handed swords. You won't get that skill tree until you pick up a two-handed sword and kill something, and then you get the skill tree because then you have experience in that. But before that, it's nowhere to be seen, which is great. So it keeps things nice and clean. But other than that, I've just been running around, leveling up, trying to get used to the combat, which is very action oriented. It definitely isn't the term you. Yeah. You don't really have to do that. The only time that you have to that comes a thing is dealing with your magic and stamina. If you run out of stamina, you're not going to really be able to swing because you're fucking tired. Same thing with magic. So so far I have enjoyed it. It was I picked up the gold edition, which is definitely the one I recommend because it comes with all the previously released DLC, like major actual DLCs like the Dark Brotherhood and I think what's the Thief Guild is another one, and there's like 4 or 5 of them. It's $40, but it's definitely the better buy, especially if you find yourself getting into it. Because otherwise, you're going to have to pay for each one of those individually, and it ends up costing you more.
The problem with that, Brandon, is that now that you're like level 11 or whatever, I can't play. Because the only person I'd want to play that is going to play this game, and that I know, is you. And you're already quite a bit ahead. And I just don't have time.
Honestly, I can't, based on how the game is played, I don't really see that really being a problem. Hell, I mean, levels just don't really seem to be too much, because I've yet to like run into an enemy that's like overpowered. You know how in other MMOs you could just wander in a direction and eventually run into things that would murder you. I've yet to have that happen.
I've had that happen frequently. Final Fantasy 11 says hello.
Yeah, that I didn't really like that one too much.
I respect what 11 was.
Yeah,
but
see, the thing is,
it's not
it was
fun.
Definitely. I played a lot of World of Warcraft. I'm not a giant fan of World of Warcraft, but I like the changes it brought to the table for a lot of different things, like traveling between locations and all that stuff. Because I could actually make it to different towns in World of Warcraft. I could never do that in 11. Like I tried, I legit tried to run from the location that I was at and try to go to another city. It was not possible. What ended up happening is I was like maybe like level 12, and I ended up in a place where things were level 50. So I need to say I never got to another town because their traveling system was a bit archaic. Thankfully, 14 remedied that. They remedied a lot of things. And
in their second version.
Which is why 14 so far has been the only MMO I've ever actually maxed out a character. I will probably end up... Well, I say I'm going to max out a character in ESO, but honestly, that's a lot of time. Okay, so you have the traditional leveling. You go up to level 50. After that, however, a new thing opens up. It's called your champion grid. And it's if you play Skyrim, it's a lot like the astrological system where you level up certain abilities and passive buffs and stuff like that. That's what this is. But it goes up to level 600 or 650, Christ. Something like that. So there's a lot to do with the in-game, thankfully. Though, in terms of equipment, they peak out at level C160. So once you reach that point, the gear will no longer increase in level. I don't know if that means it's impossible to find better loot and gear, but at least the level won't go up. But you still, once you go past 160 to 600, you're still getting passive buffs to your stats. So eventually you're just kick-ass juggernaut of a character. But yeah, like I said, I've thoroughly enjoyed what I play so far. I will continue to play. I actually been just sort of dicking around so far. I've not really been doing a whole lot since going to a new city. But I do have a mount which came with my gold edition. Thank God, because the mount they give you is like 10,000 coins, and that's actually a lot of money. Because I'm not a thief, so I'm not going around robbing everybody, so I don't have a lot to sell. Which reminds me, there is one negative thing I do have to say, and that is the marketplace. And most MMOs, there's a marketplace for characters to sell their stuff they don't need, or just, that's just a way for some people. They choose to play the game. They make money through the market system. They go out and do something that other people don't want to do, or they make gear or whatever, and they sell it to players. That does exist in ESO, but for whatever reason, they decided to make it a guild exclusive thing. Guild members can only sell to other guild members unless the guild invests in a guild trader, which opens up your marketplace to the public. It's very stupid. I don't know why they decided to do that. However, I do think what they did with the guild traders was interesting, because you can hire a guild trader and you can compete with other guilds for like prime locations. You know how like stores and whatever, they try to get the best possible location to have the best type of traffic for their wares. That's what this does. You can like buy out guild traders for like an exorbitant amount of money to try and get a better location for your guild stuff to sell to people. Like I got off a boat and immediately, like in like 20 feet, there was a guild trader, because they bought that spot and hired that guild trader to stand there and peddle out their wares. That aspect I think is interesting, but I still think the overall thing is stupid, because it does like restrict the amount of stuff that you have access to. When I went to the guild trader to try and see, it's like, hey, maybe I get some better items. Nope. Unless I was level, unless I was level 50, I wasn't going to get anything, because that's most of what was up there. In other MMOs, it's like there was stuff for all types of levels because everyone had access to the marketplace. That's the way it should be, but that's not the way they did it. So and I guess that's not going to change, but it's stupid. So yeah. But other than that, I've enjoyed what I've done so far.
Good. Very good. I'm glad, because your track record with MMOs is
not
odd.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, it's like, though it is an MMO, it doesn't completely feel like an MMO. It feels like an Elder Scrolls game that just happens to have a massive amount of people in the world with you who all act like dicks.
By the way, I apologize for my yawns. I've been yawning a lot tonight. Probably because I've had it's been a pretty busy week. So I guess it's my turn, unless you have something more you want to say?
That's all the games I got to talk about right now. That's all I played this week. I bought some other ones. Like I bought Crash. I've not jumped into it yet. I have plugged it in. I slipped the disc in, downloaded the updates, and turned it on, and I played a little bit of it. This is definitely more than just a remaster. They really upgraded those graphics. They definitely went in and redid everything.
Yeah, I've actually heard there is some criticism involving the remastering, well, the remake process. There are people saying that the game is actually now harder than the original version.
Because he's bigger?
Well, like, I think that the version I understand of it is that there are differences in the animation cycles. So the jumps
could be.
are completely different to pull off.
I guess that's possible. I haven't gotten that far yet, so I can't really comment on that. But that's okay. Just learn to play the game over again. I mean, most of you people haven't played this game in how many years? It's been forever since anyone's ever played. So just learn to replay.
I haven't actually looked into it, but like, yeah, they claim, and they claim that it is just drastically different than the original version. But again, I haven't played it. I barely played the originals, so I'm not a good candidate for saying.
For me, this is an example of what we wanted with 7. Give us the game that was already there. Just make everything pretty. That's just what they did. Yeah, things may be different because, with the betterment of technology, things are just different. They're not going to be as arcadey as they were. Things are going to change. I'm fine with that. I will get over it. So should other people. But essentially, this is what we wanted with 7. And I'm glad someone decided to do that instead of just dicking us around with something we didn't ask for. It's like, here's Crash 1, 2, and 3, but not quite. We decided to completely change everything, but it's still Crash 1, 2, and 3. No, it's not. It's a different game, which is what you're giving us with 7. It's a different game. It's not Final Fantasy 7. It just has to have Final Fantasy 7 characters in it. So yeah.
If only we were getting something of that caliber from Square.
Yeah.
I mean, because the thing is, if they change the animation cycles in a remake of Final Fantasy VII, it's not going to matter.
No. I do want to say one other thing. What's funny about the upgrading of the graphics, everything. That's a lot of what the commercials speak about. Because I go on YouTube when I watch a video, and I'm starting to see Crash commercials again, and it's just like pushes that nostalgia button. Because I remember those commercials back in the day, and they were hilarious, and these are funny too because they're like showing this guy in his Crash outfit in the gym buffing up. Because he's now buffer in the game. He's a lot bigger than he used to be.
Yep.
And it's funny, just like it was back in the day.
I'll never forget the ones where it was like Crash standing outside of Nintendo headquarters, basically giving them the finger or whatever because, because it was not cool to like Nintendo for a while there. Which I always thought was bullshit because, it's Nintendo. How do you not like Nintendo? Oh, so I guess it's my turn then to discuss the games that I have been playing. Well, I've not been playing Xenosaga this week, even though I really want to finish it. That's a double-edged sword if there ever has been, as we discussed pretty extensively last week. I've not had a lot of time for gaming this week because of work, but I will tell you what I did play. I have bought my first Vita game in 3 years. And the game I picked up was Tales of Hearts R for the PS... Well, obviously it was from the Vita because I just said it was from the Vita. Anyway, Tales of Hearts R is obviously part of the Tales series. A series that I quite like, despite the fact that I've only ever beaten 2 games and started like 4 others. And it is absolutely a Tales game.
I can imagine.
I hate to say it that way, but it is... Yep, it's Tales game. If you don't like Tales, this game's not going to change your opinion of the series. But it does have the saccharine sweet love can conquer all kind of tone that I expect from Tales. And I mean that in the best way possible. I'm having a good time with it so far. The characters are not... Okay, so let me see if I can explain this in a nice way. There is a point that you get to with a game like like you get out of the Tales series where either the characters are obnoxious as hell as a result of how cheesy they are, or they're the kind of cheesy where it's endearing. Like, I would say that Tales of Symphonia has endearing, cheesy characters in it. This game has endearing, cheesy characters so far. Because we haven't gotten a screeching, obnoxious little, like, stuffed animal character yet.
Yeah, that always appears in an anime-styled game.
And I'll be honest with you, I don't doubt that it's coming. I get the feeling it will. But, I haven't seen it yet, and I'm hoping I don't, because I hate that so much. That's the reason why I haven't finished Tales of the Abyss, because there's a little stuffed animal character, and it talks too much. Just like Blue Dragon, there's a stuffed animal character, and I hate it.
Yep. And that was voice acted, so it's worse.
Yep. So irritating. So a few more things about that game. Like I said, I've only got a couple hours on it so far. I'm onto the world map, and I've gotten past exposition wall of the beginning. And the dungeon design is something I wanted to point out because it's alright. So you know that vibe whenever you get a game, whenever you're playing a game that's got a cheaper aesthetic to it, and I don't mean that in like a bad way. I mean like they were trying to save money, and you can tell. That's where this game's like style is at, in that you have dungeon maps that are like they're 2D planes but with 3D graphics, and they're like corridors, and there's not much in the way of fleshed out locations.
If I remember, this one was a port of a DS or 3DS game. Yeah, so that might have something to do with it.
I'm fairly sure it does, and it's not even a. It's not. I'm not trying to say this in like a hypercritical way. I'm saying it in a. This is totally a product of its. It's a product of the platform that it was on in terms of how it was having to be designed.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm having to get. I mean, I'm not having to get used to it. That's a bad way to put it. But I can't help but not notice it. It's there and impossible to not see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yes, but that's the game I'm playing. I'm enjoying it. I just have to make time for it, and there hasn't been much in the way of time for it because I've literally had like the craziest work week ever. But I do want to get into it, and it's going to be very hard for me to spend a lot of time on it, considering what's coming out Tuesday.
Yay.
Brandon is totally nonplussed about the game I'm going to be buying on Tuesday. And that is Final Fantasy XII, The Zodiac Age.
Yay. You know, as much as you talked about it, you know, you keep fucking talking about it. Once it gets $20, I might look into it.
You see,
I might give it another.
That's a different story than you were saying. I'll probably buy it because it's Square, because it's Final Fantasy, and they've got me by the balls essentially.
No, not with this one. I legit know I don't like this game, but I might be willing to give it a chance to see if the new job system will improve things. Because if they can at least get the gameplay side of things better, then I might be able to get through it. Because honestly, when you fail me on the story side and the gameplay side, it does not allow me to really invest much time and effort into you.
You see, I've got a very strange I've got a strange relationship with this game in that I like the gameplay, sort of. Yeah, that's the way I can put it. I like the gameplay, sort of.
Sort of.
Because I like this. I like what it's doing. The idea is there for me. It's a matter for me of the fact that there's only 6 plot points in the entire game, and it took me 70 hours to beat the first time. The main reason I'm giving it another try is because I want to see if I understood the story, so don't think I didn't understand the story. I want to see if I get the story this time. I want to see if I leave this game having enjoyed the plot better, because there are some people who say it's the most mature Final Fantasy plot ever, and it's like, okay, that's great. Well, then why the fuck are Vaughn and Penelo there?
They keep saying that. They said that shit for the one of those, that Final Fantasy that was on Vita that they ported to the PS4 for America.
Oh, Type 0.
Yeah, they said, oh, it's the most mature one ever. That doesn't change the fact that it sucks.
Ah, that game didn't suck.
The story wasn't very good.
The story was almost non-existent, but the game was pretty fun. Like, I would give it that much. I mean, the game was
that's
fun.
why... But that doesn't neglect what they said is the most mature one ever. That doesn't say much. Just because you're... Hell, in my opinion, fucking 8's mature. It deals with, like, legit emotional issues that people experience in real life. Abandonment.
And you know what? The thing is, I agree with you. But God, do people hate Squall?
Well, that's because those type of people are annoying to be around. Yeah, you get it. There is like a real psychological problem that people have to get over. But we don't want. I mean, it's kind of like with my issues with that fucktard in Neon Evangelion. I hate that character so damn much. I wish to God every episode I was like, kill him, kill him, kill him, but they never would.
If only they would.
So, I mean, I get it. I understand why people would be annoyed by that type of character because they are annoying. In fact, I think they're supposed to be.
At least Squall grew up. Like,
yes, he did get out of it eventually. But, you know, the thing is unless a person can really connect with a person on that subject, a lot of people tend to just like, dude, just grow the fuck up and get over it. That's how most people take it.
Yep.
Some people can get past that. I got past that. Sounds like you were able to get past it. I thoroughly enjoyed the game. You thoroughly enjoyed the game. There were many people who did. But to me, that game is still more mature than what they say is mature. Just because there's war and death does not make it mature. It just means that there's a war going on. That does not make subject matter mature.
No, it doesn't. But again, I want to see if... Because one of the things that kind of threw me off of the plot so much was the fact that I got really behind the level curve somewhere early on, and I never recovered until I spent like 6 hours grinding stats.
Jesus.
And by the time I was done grinding stats, I was fine, but I had spent an absurd amount of time preparing to get further in that game.
I don't really remember, like, the stat systems and everything. It's been so long since I played that game. The only thing I remember is the license board, the massive amount of licenses there was, and how stupid it was.
Which is something that I'm hoping is relieved a little bit by the job system, because you're not just, oh, but you got to get this license thing in order to get to the license thing you want. Because, let me explain it to Trent, because Trent's never played 12. In Final Fantasy 12, you had to have a license to wear certain types of pants.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
It's like I want to wear jeans. Nope, you do not have the proper license to wear jeans.
You must wear
wear
khakis.
Those jeans, yes, if you wear those jeans, we will fine you.
And the entire, like, it's entirely built on the concept that people love the sphere grid, supposedly.
And they completely missed the point of the sphere grid, too, it seems like.
Yes, they did. Because the sphere grid allowed you to customize your game. And this does as well, sort of-ish. Because
yes,
it's
sort of.
you're trying to cultivate a certain type of player character, but idiots like us, we play the game and it's like, oh, well, I'm not just going to have a sword user here. I'm going to have them where they can do anything I need them to do. Wow, that was a decent amount of experience points for that fight. Nice. Sorry, I changed subjects here on you. I finally beat a boss. Alright, yes. But I didn't play the game that way. I got as many licenses as I could for the character that I had specifically decided, the characters I specifically decided I wanted to play as, which unfortunately included Vaughn, but it also had Balthier and Fran, because they were a great battle party together after I spent the most of the game playing as those three characters.
So did I, actually.
You know, Brandon, what's really, and this is just a comment on where you got whenever you played it back in the day. I remember whenever I was finishing up my run, I had somehow gotten your... we shared, whenever Brandon and I lived together, I used his PS2, and I had a PS2 hooked up in my room. And I played 12 on your PS2, and I guess at some point you were playing something on the PS2 around that time period because you had your memory card in. So I looked in, oh, Brandon's memory card's in here. You were literally at the end of the damn game. You had the final, you had the next to last dungeon and the last dungeon to finish, and you would have finished the game.
I remember being very, very close to the end, but I just could not give a shit. I had no shits to give, and it could not get me to give a shit.
And what's worse for you in that case is that the dungeon that you were at, which is the lighthouse or whatever it was called, that is one of the longest dungeons in any video game I have ever played.
Well, it's good that I didn't do it, because then I might have thrown the game out the door.
You probably would have, because that shit does not end. I'm so excited about so much of this game. I'm looking forward to actually doing the hunts this time, because that's a chunk of the game. I'm going to actually try and take on Yezmat, or whatever the hell it's called. That is literally one of the, like, it's a boss that literally takes, there's videos of people playing it on YouTube for 2 hours.
Jesus.
Because in the original version of the game, you couldn't break the damage limit in the United States. So the international version, you finally could. But it has 5 million HP. 5 million HP when your damage cap is 10,000, and it heals itself with frequency. So,
did you know there was a steelbook version?
Yeah, that's the version I've got pre-ordered. It's got cool damn cover art. At least I think it's cool. It's reminiscent of the PSP version of Final Fantasy Tactics, which I also like the cover art for that.
Yeah, I do like the cover. See, the thing is, I like the art style of the games. I'm just not a fan of the games.
I will also say, I've liked this run of Tactics that I've been doing. I've enjoyed the story a lot more this time than I ever had before, because I remember enough of it so that it's actually clicking together in between the mountains of grind that I have to put into it so that I can manage to get past fights. Because I'm still very bad at the game.
Mm-hmm.
Which I did finally get to Chapter 3 since the last episode that we recorded. So yeah, I've been playing stuff, just not very much. And now, it's funny, like right now I kind of wish that I had the cable to hook up my PSP to the streaming box. Because I'd be playing Final Fantasy Tactics right now, because it's so much more fun than this damn game is. Oh, and if I'm saying that that game is fun, then I'm not having fun with this. Oh, but anyway, Trent, how about you? You've been quiet. I don't know if what you've been playing lately.
Nothing. I haven't had time.
Oh man.
Still working overtime every day.
Oh Jesus. I know. What
I don't foresee that ever ending.
Is it at least doing your wallet well?
Yes.
Well, that's good. That's very good.
But I was given a copy of Guitar Hero 2, going old school.
Nice. God, I haven't played those in so long.
Me either. I got the Metallica rock. Was that? Yeah, that's Guitar Hero. I got Guitar Hero Metallica a few weeks ago, but I haven't played it yet.
That was that one's based on which version was that one based on? Because I know after a while they were like they had all the ones that split off of the same one. Wasn't that based off World Tour's gameplay?
I don't know. It came out in 2009, so.
Man, they released so many of them close together. I could not even tell you.
Yeah,
how
it's based on World Tour.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's the last one I played. They did the one that had 2112 at the end, and I played a bit of it and didn't get far enough to get to 2112, which was very sad.
I have everything from 2 onward now until the last game that came out on the new systems, because the soundtrack sucked.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, I gotta point this out. Sorry to interrupt the conversation about video games, but I'm gonna conversate about video games. This motherfucker giving this quest out in Xenosaga is sexist as shit. He will not let Cosmos go fishing. He said, I'm only letting men do this. So I gotta figure out how to actually make Jin my my visible party character right now. And I don't know how, because I put Junior in my first position for my party, and it didn't do a damn thing. Let's just change it all out to the sausage fest here. Okay, there we go. Although Chaos barely qualifies. That dude is like
androgynous as shit.
He is super androgynous. The time has finally come for someone to reel in my big dream. Oh my god. You know, last week I made a comparison to this game to Lightning Returns. I wish that wasn't so true. Oh. Well, anyway. I do believe we have some gaming things that have occurred this week that we could discuss really fast. Things that are of importance to us. Let's talk about the one that's more likely first. The one that's more solid. So earlier this week, Platinum Games, the amazing studio behind Bayonetta and the wonderful 101, have launched a new Twitter page, and they teased new Bayonetta and Wonderful 101 content because they put up an image of Bayonetta with the title character in a red and blue art style, which many people, and the actual illustrations are reminiscent of her character design from both the first and second games, and the red and blue people are suggesting Switch controller colors.
Yeah.
And then also there is a photograph on their Twitter page of them playing the Wonderful 101 on what looks like a Nintendo Switch.
Yep.
So
I
gist,
wouldn't mind a port.
I wouldn't either, because I didn't get a chance to play Wonderful 101 or Bayonetta 1 and 2 on the Switch. I mean, on the Wii U. And let's be honest, that damn game's expensive.
Yeah, I got lucky when I went to my Walmart and they had it. I was like, sold.
I mean, it wasn't any more. It was actually, it's still cheaper than what you paid for it. Actually, because it's $50.
That's what I paid for it.
Oh, you paid $50? Well, it's exactly that much. It's $50. But
well, at least it ain't, outrageous.
Yeah, at least it's not like $100. But it's more money than I have to spend on a game most of the time. I say as I rebuy Final Fantasy 12, like a fucking moron. No one ever said I was smart. But I'm glad. I mean, I've got to pick up a copy at some point. But I would I'm more likely, if this is true, to wait for the port. Just because...
Well, that makes sense that way.
Yeah, I mean, because this time I get to support it and actually make the money off of it. Because I get the feeling that whenever it went out of print, that GameStop was like, oh, well, we're going to do the thing we do always whenever there's a game that goes out of print. We're going to hold our copies that are new and resell them as used. Because that's what they do. At least that's how I perceive GameStop's model for rare stuff to be. And a port of Wonderful 101 is good, but it's also strange because the way I understand it about Wonderful 101 is that it relied on it actually relied very heavily on the second screen. It's one of the few Wii U games that actually use the second screen as an advantage rather than a hindrance. I mean, I can think of very few games that actually supported the second screen as something other than just a second screen to play the game on. So, it will be sad to see that functionality go, but I don't care. I'm planning to pick up a copy of that because that one's actually fairly cheap. It's only $17 at GameStop these days. Oh my god, I just caught a naughty magazine in the ocean that's on a space station.
Very Japanese.
This game is so damn weird. It's so weird that
magazine day.
Oh my god, I haven't watched Billy Madison in forever. It's been so damn long. You know, the Wii U, we've talked about this before, but the Wii U library does need a second chance in many ways. Like, games like Super Mario 3D World could benefit from having a larger audience than the Wii U had. Because Mario 3D World is actually now one of my favorite Mario games.
I guess you'll just have to wait until the Wii U Classic.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
No. Things that'll never happen.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll happen before the Virtual Boy Classic.
That I can't argue with. Although the Virtual Boy Classic, nobody could complain about how many games it's got because it would have all of them.
Yeah?
All 13 or so. Or is it 14?
Weren't there more in Japan?
Just one or two. Not very much. You know, that's the weird thing about those stopgap systems from the mid-90s. They had tiny little libraries, and the only things that didn't come to the States were, like, one or two games, you know? Like, we didn't get a Romance of Three Kingdoms game on the 32X, and I cannot remember the other one. I know one of the canceled games for the 32X. How about this, guys? Would you have bought the 32X to play a game called Virtual Hamster?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Virtual Handjob.
Virtual Hamster.
Virtual Hamster and Virtual Handjob should not be sold in the same package, because that's not a cool combination there, friends.
Some people might like it.
Oh, that's the weird part.
Yeah.
You know, I don't hate either of those consoles, though. I kind of have a bizarre fascination with both the Virtual Boy and the 32X, and that's why I'm trying to collect full libraries for both of them.
Are they better than the, what was that, Sega add-on? Well, the 32X is an add-on to the CD, right?
Oh, it's an add-on to both the Genesis and the CD. It can use both pieces of hardware.
But you don't need the CD in order to use the 32X.
That's correct, unless you're trying to play 32X CD games, of which there are 5.
Oh, not many of those either.
Nope, I have 2 of them. Yeah, I have 2 of those. I have Fahrenheit and Zombie. No, it's not Zombie. It's my God, what is that stupid fucking game called? Corpse Killer. That's it.
Corpse Killer.
Corpse Killer is.
That sounds like a metal band.
I'm sure it is, but it's also an incredibly dumb FMV game from the 90s. I
Well,
love
that's okay. It sounds like a dumb metal band.
Yes, but I'm dead serious when I say I love this game. I love how genuinely awful and stupid it is. The gameplay, whenever it actually lets you quote-unquote play the game, is the worst kind of FMV game because it's a scrolling camera going past, like, different patches of jungle and warehouses while these, like, cardboard cutouts of zombies approach your car and you just blast them with infinite ammo. And it's so goddamn ugly because it just they don't even animate. They're just cardboard. They look like cardboard cutouts, and they change shape as they approach the car, and you kill them. What makes this game so wonderful, though, is the just insanely poorly written story. Well, not story. I don't know if you can even call this a story and get away with it. Because you've got this girl in it who is a quote-unquote journalist, and she's there to get the big story, and she flirts with you constantly. And then you have the guy who drives the car. He's the worst Rastafarian stereotype you've ever seen. Like, he makes Hermes Conrad from Futurama look completely like non-offensive in terms of, like, racial sensitivity. Because he says shit like, talking about your gun, these kill zombies good. It's almost glorious how stupid this game is. And I love how, I genuinely love how terrible that game is. If you can love a game for being bad, I love that game for being awful. It is one of the reasons why I still collect FMV games, because it's fun to play games that are just that utterly awful when they are that bad. Like, sometimes they're just unplayable bad. Like, remember Fahrenheit, Brandon?
Vaguely.
Okay, Trent, you know the movie Backdraft?
Yeah,
I know that movie.
Okay, so Backdraft is not a bad drama film. You know, it's a drama, though. Well, imagine if Backdraft was an FMV game and they tried to cram all the drama in, but it's mostly a maze of burning houses. That's Fahrenheit. It tries to latch on to Backdraft style drama, but instead you're just dying in a house that's on fire. I've never gotten past the first level. And I've tried so hard. Oh man, I wish I could play that game. It's similarly, I have problems with Tomcat Alley because it's all like quick time event button prompts, and no, it doesn't even work. That game, I've tried so hard, and I can't get past a button prompt. Alright, so before we move on to the other story, I'm just going to talk a little bit about what I am doing in the game right now, because I can't believe it. Right now, I'm delivering kittens to people. I have to take kittens to people, and I can't just, like, randomly take kittens to people. No, each cat has to be taken to a specific person in this town. Thankfully, the town's only 2 screens wide, but I have to go back to the place where the cats are at in between each cat delivery in order to give the cat away to the right people. This is busy work.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Thankfully, I get a double attack for 2 characters that I actually might use in the final boss, which everything I'm doing right now is designed for preparing for the final boss. Because the last time I tried to fight the final boss, it went poorly. Okay. So that is what's going on in this game right now. I'm delivering kitties. Bubbles would be proud. Brandon, this is where you would probably say something like, "That's a nice goddamn kitty right there."
I didn't even think of that. But yes, that is a good. That's a
We
good
call
add
it
to
Bubbles.
that. Yes, Bubbles.
That's a good Bubbles quote. I mean, that's most Bubbles quotes. This little cocksucker right here. Not watched that in a while. I actually got to season 3 last time I tried to watch it. Oh, now there's a thing. I just thought about it. We have not talked about it. And before we get into the pure rumor section of the show, have you guys tried to watch the Castlevania TV series yet?
No.
No.
So, let me tell you that
It just came out today, right?
Yeah, it just came out. I'm having a hard time believing.
Okay, well,
I'm legitimately having a hard time believing that this show is as good as it is. So, when it was announced, we talked about this when it was first announced, that Warren Ellis was writing and apparently an executive producer on a Castlevania TV series for Netflix. This was a long gestating project between him and the other producer, Adi Shankar, I think, maybe.
not Ravi Shankar, who did music for Indian movies in the 1950s.
No, not him. I can't remember the guy's last name. But anyway, this was a project that they'd worked on for quite some time. They actually worked on it when Koji Igarashi was with Konami. So it's been a few years. It's apparently the collaboration was so intense for Warren Ellis. You know, he went back and forth with Iga so many times that he claims in an interview one time that if he ever sees Iga in an alley, he might stab him.
Jesus.
Because of the level of control that Iga kept on the continuity of Castlevania at the time. So this is a series that's based on Castlevania 3. And there are 4 episodes currently. It will get another. It's already been greenlit for another season. And I'm so fucking happy because they've not done a whole lot yet in 4 episodes. Because it's literally 2 hours. It's less than 2 hours of screen time watching this thing. You could literally knock this thing out and want more, and they've got you waiting for it. So here's the plot, and apparently this is the plot of Castlevania 3: Dracula's Curse. Dracula he meets this woman who comes to his house, the legendary Castlevania, and she's trying to figure out how to become a doctor. And he knows science. Yes. Dracula knows science. And by the way, if you never thought about it, Castlevania is a science fiction series, by the way. I'll leave you at that, and you can see what I'm talking about when you watch the show. Well, anyway, the people of the country brand her as a witch whenever she's convinced him to, lead a normal life like a human and come live with her and travel the world like a normal human being. And whenever they burn her at the stake as a witch, he gets pissed and says, if you do not get the fuck out of here in the next year, I will come back and I will kill all of you. And of course the church is like, oh, that's not going to happen. And they stay and they're like, and you see, it's been a year and Dracula hasn't done shit. So, oh fuck, it's raining blood.
Wait a minute. It turns into Slayer?
Yes, it turns into a Slayer video because it literally starts raining blood and fucking gargoyles start murdering people. And that's just the first 10 minutes. What follows is you meet Trevor Belmont, who is goddamn hilarious. And he joins up with Sypha and the speakers who do magic, and things happen. And I don't want to ruin it because it's only 2 hours long, but I'm having a hard time really dealing with this. Warren Ellis made Castlevania a good story. Because, I don't know about you guys, but I don't play Castlevania for the plot. The plot is usually really paper thin and just an excuse for you to go explore the same damn castle again.
No, that's true. A lot of the things that you've already described, appears in various Castlevania games.
You're right, but it's never this well written.
That's because it's all spread out. Like the burning of the woman, that happens in Symphony of the Night.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, I mean, this is a prequel to Symphony of the Night in many ways because Alucard's in it. And Alucard's story extended over 3 games originally. He was originally in Castlevania 3, and then he was in Rondo of Blood, and then Rondo of Blood's sequel, of course, was Symphony of the Night, which was the game that everybody knows Alucard for.
And then he appeared in a few other ones after.
Yes, well, I mean, not as in major of a capacity, because in that game he was the main character. It's just, even when the stories have interesting stuff going on in them, the writing is never good. Like, the writing in Castlevania is usually so much more than it really needs to be for it to tell the story that it is. And it's never good enough. Like, this is strongly written, well-developed Castlevania in a story. It's astonishing that that's a thing now, because I'm so used to Castlevania being really cheesy. And this never enters the realm of cheesy. As a matter of fact, the actual action that takes place on the screen, it is insanely violent and pulls no punches at all. Like, it is one of the most brutal things I've ever seen animated. I can't, like, point out specific, instances. Oh, actually, I guess I can. There's one thing. There's this, like, throwaway shot almost where it's the gargoyles, like, traveling in a pack together outside of the town, and one of them has a baby in its mouth, and it just, like, jerks its head, and the baby flies off against a wall. It's, yeah, it's pretty grotesque. But I'm not kidding when I say that this is literally 20 million times better than I expected it to be. And that's, and that's understanding that Warren Ellis wrote it. Like, Warren Ellis is one of the most talented writers in comics, and, like, the guy, I've never read anything from the guy that I didn't like. Mind you, I never read anything like he did for X-Men or anything, but he's extremely talented. I did not know if he could even pull off Castlevania in a way that was serious and well done and actually made me care. Like, Joe, having not ever specifically played a Castlevania game before, really enjoyed it and was pissed whenever it was over. Because all that happens by the end is, well, the quest has just begun. Like, this would be where the game starts. Like, the game Castlevania 3, like, this thing ends where the game would start. Just for example. And she's like, I want more, this was really good. Even Amanda, who's our roommate, she really dug it, and she's going to go back and watch it from the start. It's very cool. The animation's really good. This is the best anime I've seen in years. The best new anime I've seen in years, rather. And it's not even made by a Japanese studio. The studio that made it's actually in Texas. So yes, Castlevania, go watch it. It's less than 2 hours. If you end up not liking it, you only spent 2 hours on it. It's not like the 10 hours that you usually have to sit there and watch a Netflix series for. I was actually intending to play the original Castlevania here on the show tonight, but again, HDMI cable was not present, so I could not set up the streaming for it.
One thing I have to wonder,
I'm sorry,
with it being so short, will it take them a year to give us more?
I don't know. They've not said, but they've greenlit the second season already. Which is
that I saw, but I was like, will it really take them a year to do more? I mean, it's not like they're giving us a lot at one time.
Yeah, one would think that they've already been working on more and are just prepared to pick up and continue after this. That's actually a good point. I hope it doesn't take another year because, I mean, it hasn't taken a year. It's going to take about a year for them to write and shoot a second season for Stranger Things, and that's actually drawn. I mean, that's not that's not anime. Like the thing is, it does have those. You know how you can tell whenever the anime is like supplemented by CGI.
Yeah.
This is. It looks really good, and it's not bad, but you can tell it's supplemented by CGI. Which I think most anime is at this point anyway. I feel like very little anime is hand-drawn these days. One thing that was really odd is that Richard Armitage actually voices Trevor Belmont.
Yeah, I saw that.
And Richard Armitage is actually a talented actor. So...
Yeah, looking at his profile is how I just found out that there's going to be another Oceans movie.
Yeah.
Like a genuine Oceans movie.
Yeah, you didn't know about that?
I've not seen any information about it. The only one I ever heard about was the all-female cast version.
That is the one that's coming out, yeah.
No, there's another one.
There's two of them?
Yeah, it's called Ocean's 8. It's him, Matt Damon, and some other people. It's not the Ocean's 11 remake.
You see, I thought that was the same movie.
Unless something changed. I don't remember there being a huge female cast listed on that. I thought it was just going to be called Ocean's 11 or something different.
No. Like, it was actually, if I recall correctly, that movie was actually tied to the Ocean's quote-unquote universe. I could be wrong, though.
Okay. Well, then they don't actually list the women at the top of the billing.
Wow,
It was like the first things I noticed was Matt Damon and this guy. I was like, oh, there's a new Ocean's movie. I didn't even see Anne Hathaway. I didn't even see her name. I didn't remember seeing her name.
I thought that was the case, but yeah.
Why is Kim Kardashian gonna be in it?
Why does Kim Kardashian exist? I hope that she's not in it for more than 2
She's making
seconds.
a cameo.
Okay, that's still too much, but I don't know. I'm still gonna see it. I love the movies, and
I've never seen the movies.
the first one's still the best. And
I've never even seen the original from the 60s.
I like the original as well. Although the ending is such a downer, depending on what you want out of the movie. I think it's hilarious, personally. Whew. I mean, I've seen that mostly. I mean, I've seen a bunch of the older heist movies largely because I like my heist movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what's odd is how the Italian Job, the original, is not on Blu-ray.
That is a fucking shame. That is a damn shame.
All right, nobody move. I have an idea.
We're only supposed to blow off the bloody door.
Oh, I haven't watched that in so long. I have played
I
the
haven't
video
watched
game.
it since I watched it at your place.
Oh, damn.
Way back when.
I watched it more recently than that. I showed it to Joe whenever we started dating, so it's still been a while ago. Because, you know, it was that thing whenever I first met Joe. It's like, oh, there's so many movies you haven't seen that I need to be able to talk to you about.
Yeah.
Which we've caught that up for, you know, now. There's still a few that pop every once in a while. It's like, oh shit, you haven't seen that? Of course, I've got a few movies that I need to see that I'm just embarrassed that I haven't watched yet. Like, They Live, for example. I've never seen They Live.
What? Wow.
That's one of the only John Carpenter movies I haven't seen.
That's sad, because that was great.
So that's what I've heard, and it looks amazing. I just haven't watched it yet. And it's no other reason than I keep watching too much other shit. I mean, I only watched Videodrome for the first time like 2 weeks ago.
That's okay. Everyone does a double take when I say I haven't seen Office Space.
I mean,
Wait a minute.
I'm not, but you should. It's pretty funny. It's a pretty good movie.
Yes. There was an Italian Job on Blu-ray, just not in the States.
Yeah, and the remake is out on Blu-ray in the United States, which I like the remake.
Well, no.
Okay.
Actually, that's also wrong. There is a 40th anniversary edition, but it's $40.
Damn.
That's released over here, I think. It looks like it's released over here. It doesn't say it's an import.
I don't know. You go to Blu-ray.com and I haven't seen it.
This
available.
might still be imported, but I mean, it looks nice. My Blu-ray player's region free, so it wouldn't matter.
Okay, and an update on Kitty Gate here. I still have not delivered all the cats. How long have we been talking since I brought that up?
I should legit try and kill you for naming anything with the gate at the end.
I knew it would piss you off, though.
I fucking hate that shit so much.
It is such a bizarre cliche, isn't it? I genuinely hate this quest, and all it's going to get me is a double attack. And I don't even know how to do those, I don't think. At least I've never done one anyway. Okay, so now for the thing that's going to break out all the frustration and everything that some people feel for the SNES Classic. There is a comment that was made this week by a person whose name I'm going to go grab if this fucking website will not pop up a picture whenever I opened it. Okay, so the Senior Executive Office for Nintendo, who is not named here. Oh, here it is. Satoshi Yamato has discussed how Nintendo is thinking of different ways to use the Virtual Console concept and titles, and that the Super NES Classic Edition is a form of Virtual Console. Not completely incorrect. And it has said that it is possible that they would release single titles at retail as packaged software or download cards, but they have to consider if there's enough demand for them. And the quote is, "It would be possible to sell these titles as packaged software or via download cards, but if we were to start selling products like this in the future, I think we would have to first consider whether we can establish that kind of business model and do our due diligence in finding out if there is sufficient demand for it." Okay, so clearly this is a pretty broad stroke, the suggestion of classic console formats being the way that we buy Virtual Console games from now on, or that Nintendo could shift to something resembling like physical download cards, in the marketplace. Sort of like, you go to GameStop and they've got League of Legends cards. You pay $20 and you get a copy of League of Legends download, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That is the kind of stuff being suggested here. Okay. First and foremost, obviously, if you use the sales of the SNES Classic, you're not actually gauging the sales of a fucking retro game. You're gauging the sales that you make to fucking scalpers. And as much as I would like for them to do something like this, for them to do more with the Virtual Console concept, this is not the way to measure it. And this is an incredibly frustrating point of view on Nintendo's part, even though I like the idea of it. I just think that they are being very stupid about how they are measuring the interest in retro games. Brandon, I think you also had a response to this article, and so did Trent. So I just wanted to get that thing out of the way.
I don't really have a response because they didn't say anything. The statement makes no sense. What are you selling this for? You're already I'm already going to assume that you're going to have retro titles on the Switch Virtual Console. So what the fuck are you talking about?
I think that it's suggesting a change in the way that they deliver Virtual Console games, and a change in the way that they sell them, because it sounds like they want there to be a reminder in physical stores, like in GameStop or Best Buy or whatever, where they are showing you, hey, you can also play Super Mario World on the Nintendo Switch. Or even
I-
the potential for selling like actual game media that's packaged of virtual console games.
I mean, that would be the only thing that I would see as that'd be kind of cool, because otherwise it's
It's a piece of paper you
it's
throw
very
away.
yeah, it's very stupid. I don't even really understand it when it comes to, like, the PS4 has that, and I don't understand why when I can just buy a PS4 like money card and go buy the game on the store.
You see,
Why do you?
I agree with you completely, because I don't get the point whenever, yes, you can just buy a card that already has the money on it. But they brand them sometimes to say, oh, look, Final Fantasy 15 for $60. Oh, that's the same price as this card. Because I guess some people are stupid.
I guess.
Because you're still buying a $60 credit to your PSN account.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I
I
get
mean,
why
at
they
least
brand
with,
some of
like-
this stuff, though.
I mean, it's like PC does that. The second thing you mentioned, you can buy a physical medium of some sort, but mostly you're getting the code, but you still get a case, and
Yep.
sometimes that case will include a CD.
And
Like
sometimes
my
that CD is actually the game.
Yeah, like I got a copy. I have Dishonored for PC on disc, but it just contains like some of the files necessary to play the game. I still have to go to Steam and download the rest, and it still gives me, of course, a code to go through Steam.
I actually have a copy of Amnesia, the first one, for PC.
I think I have that too.
Yeah, and it doesn't actually come with a code for Steam. It's some weird, like, direct release DVD thing that I got at, God, what was that, Staples that we got those?
Yep, Staples.
That was such a weird thing to purchase, was an actual game disc at Staples.
So I honestly just don't understand why this article exists. I don't know what the point of any of that was, other than just to, I
Muddy
guess,
the waters.
to get people to click on a link.
Well, you see, the thing is, I'm with you on the fact that if they did a physical release of virtual console games, like for the Switch, like you pay $20 and you get 5 virtual console games or something like that, just ballparking it. That's incredibly cool to me, because then you're cultivating an actual level of importance for your retro titles that just throwing them upon the store is not going to do, because that stuff gets just buried in the noise of an e-store. If you go on, for example, the incredibly, the somewhat unorganized Wii U game shop, there's a lot of indie stuff. There are 30 goddamn Minecraft clones. And it's just so hard. I mean, you can find the virtual console games. It's not hard to find virtual console games. I'm not even trying to make that statement. But I am saying that there's this, it gets buried in the noise. People are going to see, oh, I'm going to play yet another goddamn Minecraft clone because I have the intelligence and interest in video games of a fucking 8-year-old. This is being very unkind to people who like Minecraft, and I am sorry, but God almighty, we don't need 40 different versions of Minecraft. We need Minecraft and Terraria, and that's it. Let it go other than that. So it all gets buried and nobody notices that there's new virtual console games. And frankly, I would almost see Nintendo doing this as a way to get more physical retail space taken up in stores, because right now they kind of need to make more of a physical impression in stores, because whenever I go to a store and I'm looking at their games, I notice one thing very specifically. They ain't got a lot for the Switch. As far as like physical game releases that are at like Target or whatever, there's like there's less than a dozen games on actual physical media. And if you wanted to make a very quick impression on the market that's in those stores, you put 5 or 6 classic Nintendo games out on a Switch cartridge. There you go. You've just released new virtual console content and made it where you're selling all of it at once. That way you can also, and this is the really cynical part of me, you throw some really crappy shit in there on top of the stuff that people want. Like, I'll never forget when the Wii Virtual Console launched. The original Wii Virtual Console launched with China Warrior being one of your options. No one should goddamn ever play China Warrior. So that I could see them being able to sell some of these games that are less attractive to people alongside some classics like, oh, you're gonna buy the Switch Super Nintendo RPG collection. It's gonna have Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI and the 7th Saga. Because nobody's gonna buy the 7th Saga. It's a grindy ass it's a grindy ass dungeon crawler from the Super Nintendo. It's not that fun. At least it wasn't to me. But nobody's gonna be like, oh man, 7th Saga. They're gonna be like, oh look, Final Fantasy VI, but they bought 7th Saga as well, and the original publisher makes a little bit of money off of it. So that's a possibility. It's a slim possibility. But that's the most interesting thing the guy says, is the potential of it going to physical media. But doing the download card thing seems stupid. Now, the other possibility of this, and this is a stretch. This is clearly a stretch, and I'm going to be completely honest with that. There are only 21 games in the SNES Classic hardware. And one of the things that disappointed people about the NES Classic was that there was no way to expand the amount of games that was on it. Now, this is pretty much already not true. I will go ahead and say it, but this is a thing that they could do whenever they do the SNES Classic 2 or the N64 Classic. They could add a card reader of some kind and sell you more games for these pieces of hardware, but they have to sell it for more than 4 months or 3 months like they're doing the SNES Classic, because they've already said that they will not be producing the Super NES Classic into 2018.
Yep.
Which is stupid as hell. It's like they don't want to make money at all. But they could include a card reader on these things and sell people more games. We were talking about this when the NES Classic was in stores and on the way into stores. It's like the fact that they are not putting a card reader on these things and selling people more fucking games shows that they do not understand the commercial viability of these products at all. I think that's all I have to say about it, though.
Honestly, that's just Nintendo in a nutshell anyway. I mean, they literally have the biggest gold mine when it comes to, old games that people will be willing to buy. And they have never utilized it to the degree that they should. Even going back to the Wii, they just trickle out titles like, here's 1 or 2. Even though we have literally thousands of games, here's 1, here's 2.
Again, there's the grounds of like rights being held by the original publishers, but that would not be that hard to deal with.
Bullshit. Back in the day, Nintendo had publishing rights on so many of those fucking games. I don't want to hear it. They had so many games they have so many of their own that they published in the States.
Now that is
they
true.
have probably still rights to, but they do nothing with.
Well, you see,
it literally costs them almost nothing to get those up there. It may cost them some, but a lot of those, I imagine, there's a chance of making your money back.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that. But they licensed a lot of titles for release. Licensing agreements do expire. But I am fairly certain that if one of these rights holders was like, Nintendo was coming to like Square and it's like, hey, we want to put the classic Final Fantasies on the Wii U or the Switch. There is little reason why Square should say no.
They won't say no.
Well, they sure as shit didn't put much out on the... They didn't put anything on the Wii U.
Well, see, that's what I'm talking about. Nintendo just doesn't do enough. They just do a little. I don't know how much it requires the publisher to do things, but, you know, I may give, like, Xbox crap, but fuck, they have gone out of their way to try and get as many, you know, timed exclusives or regular exclusives on their fucking console.
And
it
hell,
wasn't it was the publisher doing it. It was them.
Yeah, and they are actually doing their part to get their older titles playing on the system. They are getting original Xbox backwards compatibility on the Xbox One. Now, as much as that may like reek of desperation to look good in the marketplace, it's a damn fine move for making their older games viable again. And that is excellent. Like, I can give Microsoft all kind of shit for some of the things they're doing with the Xbox One, but I really like the idea that they're supporting the original Xbox on their
new hardware. And Nintendo does nothing, no legwork whatsoever. That's why I get pissed off at them. They literally have all of this gold, and they do nothing.
They could just dump it all out there at once with the stuff that they personally have the rights to release. Yes, they could just release the shit. Like, we shouldn't have to wait for Mario 1, then Mario 2, and then Mario 3, and then Mario World, and then Yoshi's Island. No, fucking day one, all of it. That is not a challenge. Like, that, nothing about that sounds like a challenge to me for Nintendo. Once they have their emulation platform in place, just done. It's all out there. That's not a challenge in my view. Now, as for getting, I don't know, what's something really weird?
I mean, of course, the more obscure something is, yeah, that might be hard because the publisher may not exist anymore.
Exactly.
But most of the things that people remember and would want to play, they still exist somewhere. Somebody has it. And it would not be hard to get them to publish again. It's like, hey, would you like to make some money? Sure!
Sign this pre-designed piece of legal documentation allowing us to do so, and we'll get that motherfucker online. And that should be it.
I mean, this stuff is so old that it would not be hard. It's not like we're talking about like a generation or two ago. We're talking like Super Nintendo days and before.
Yeah.
I mean, it would not be hard. And they just do nothing instead. And it's really annoying. Instead they do shit like the classics, and it's like, you got 2 months. Go. Oh, it sold out 2 minutes ago. Sorry.
Or like here in the States, we haven't even gotten a pre-order window open. Like in Europe, Amazon UK has actually opened pre-orders, had to stop all the assholes who had more than one pre-ordered, and then they've sold out already.
I already know I'm not getting one of these. Unless I just happen to go to a Walmart and literally trip over one, there's no way. I already know it. Because more than likely, this thing will probably go on sale in the middle of the fucking night.
You know,
that's Nintendo.
Shit, have you been on Amazon and seen the questions about the SNES Classic?
No.
Oh my god, they're hilarious. They are fucking fantastic. I'm dead serious. I got quite a kick out of these this morning. Let's see if I can pull them up really fast, because they're totally worth this. Worth a minute of your time. Let's see. Come on. I know I'm doing a lot on the computer right now. You guys are probably going to pull the damn thing up even faster than me. There we go. Because I read these this morning to Joe, and we got a kick out of it. Let's see. And I did sign up for an alert from Amazon for whenever they do it, but yeah, it's that thing where they do their updates in the middle of the night, and it'll probably go on sale at like 4 in the morning, and every scalper douchebag is going to have one before I can even get a chance to look at one.
The first one. The very first fucking one. Is Nintendo going to make more than 10 of these? Secondly, is Amazon going to put up the pre-order at 4 a.m. on a Sunday night so I have to wake up too late? Exactly.
No, it's the answers that you should... They are only making one, and all that are interested will have to participate in a deathmatch to win it. This deathmatch will be held at 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and the only weapon allowed is a controller with an irritatingly short cord. Another one that's great. Is your body ready? My body may be ready, but my wallet is totally unprepared for the shakedown. Let's see what else have we got here. Is there any hope? Little to none. What else have we got? Oh, so I heard that Nintendo just discontinued this device already. You think the N64 Classic is going to be announced soon? You know, the thing that sucks about this, the thing that sucks more than anything else I think about this entire situation with how the scalpers are fucking the system over and how Nintendo's not producing a fucking hardware for it, is that people were so excited about the NES Classic and they thought it was such a cool idea that whenever the, in my opinion, superior SNES Classic comes out, because let's face it, these games are pretty much all of these games are amazing. Yep. That everybody's so goddamn jaded by how much Nintendo fucked up the first one that they're just being sarcastic, bitter, and pissed off about even the prospect of this one.
Well, I can't blame them.
Neither can I. I can't. I don't blame them, but it just sucks that this is what's happened. Like, that this all went so poorly. This wonderful idea of putting classic games out on great hardware that works really well and does really great output of really good games, and Nintendo
why is anybody surprised?
Fucked it up so much.
Why is anybody surprised? It's Nintendo.
Because Nintendo didn't used to do this shit all the time.
It was. I don't have the explanation of when they changed from being an actual good business to one that just caters to fuel this, resale market that extorts money from people to almost. Like, oh, you want it? Then give me $500 because that's the only way you're fucking getting it.
You see, I don't even think that it's specifically that Nintendo's catering to them. I think that Nintendo's products they handle their business in such a way because of the Wii era that they maintain interest in a system by limiting the numbers that are going out. And that's fine for their core hardware in terms of like maintaining that interest, and I'm not agreeing with this practice, but it's what's been happening ever since the Wii. And I think that they got really used to this, making them a shit ton of money.
Well, honestly, the Wii, I think was like not on purpose. I think that was just like they literally just weren't expecting the response they got.
You're right, but it's created a certain kind of, mindset for them that is kind of horrible, where they're, and I disagree with this, that they can do this thing where they release a small number of systems and sell them all out immediately and maintain interest in the system based on the hype alone, and it's I'm not saying it's a good thing. I think it's less shitty when they do it for their core hardware because they're releasing enough of it over time that eventually they will be prevalent and everybody will have one. But right now they're doing it with these limited release systems, and all it's doing is fueling this god-awful shitty secondhand market that's entirely run by people who are buying hardware that nobody else is getting even a chance to buy and selling it at 6 times the price. And that sucks. That is anti-consumer sucks. And the thing is, I can't give Nintendo a pass or anything, but I still blame the scalpers too, because the scalpers are being shitty goddamn people.
Oh yeah, I was just wondering, because I'm curious. I was like, I wonder how much the Switch is on eBay. It's $400 market range.
Yeah, which is not as bad as it could be.
Some of them do go up to 500 depending on what the version it is. But yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, but you got to remember the Wii sometimes was selling for like $600 and $700, depending on time of year.
That was stupid.
So I mean, it's going to be worse later in the year. I think by the time Christmas rolls around, it's going to be a damn nightmare. But
I'm glad I got mine.
yeah, me too. Me
See,
too.
what sort of bothers me is all these places. It's like, oh yeah, you can get a Switch, but you have to buy all this other shit that you probably don't want.
The GameStop model.
Yeah, it's like you have to buy the bundle.
Have you noticed that all of GameStop's bundles, except for maybe like one, come with a copy of No More Heroes? I mean, not No More Heroes, but Has Been Heroes.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we published this game on this system. You have to buy it. You have to own a copy. I mean, thankfully it's a decent game, but damn. I have finished delivering the kittens to all their owners. It took over 30 minutes. Oh my god. My brain is rotting out of my face. Oh. Alright. Are we done trashing Nintendo's shitty business practice?
No, I'm sure we'll do it next week.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
Are we done doing it for the night though?
Yeah, unless Nintendo greenlights that pre-order thing tonight, and I don't get one, and we have to do another show tomorrow. Yeah, we're done.
I'm willing to pay up to $200 for the SNES Classic, so I'll probably get one.
You know, honestly, I thought I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, because right now the NES Classic is around $200.
Yeah,
I might be willing to pay that for the SNES Classic.
Much better games, and I can't get these on the 3DS I have because some of these games are available. If you have the new 3DS, you can get them on the Virtual Console that way.
But I would have played on my TV.
Yeah, pretty much where I'm at is like, all these assholes are like, well, you should just get an emulation console and do it that way, or get your Raspberry Pi and hack it. And it's like, fuck you. Maybe I want to own the only official release of Star Fox 2 ever because I'm a fan.
To a degree, sometimes I can understand the sentiment with how crappy it is to deal with Nintendo. But yeah, I understand wanting to actually own that when you literally can't own it any other way, and you're a fan. But sometimes I'm like, what? Fuck you, Nintendo. You ain't getting me my fucking money because you're an asshole. The Jim Sterling approach.
I want them to release enough of these things in stores so that I don't have to spend an exorbitant amount of money on it, and I can get one for list price and take it home and play Star Fox 2. A game that I've literally been wanting to play since I learned that it was a thing. All the way back in 1998, whenever I got my Nintendo 64 and had a copy of Star Fox 64, and I had the Star Fox 64 strategy guide.
Which is about 30% of Star Fox 2 was taken for the 64. So.
Exactly. And I love Star Fox 64. It is literally one of my favorite fucking games of all time. And I want to experience the demo version, basically. Because it's literally the only one of the games in the series that I have not played. I've even played the crappy DS one that you have to play with the touchscreen, and it sucked. But I played Star Fox Adventures. I played Star Fox Adventures, for fuck's sake.
Have you played the port of Star Fox 64 for the 3DS?
Oh hell yeah, man! I had that thing pre-ordered and paid for like a week after I got my 3DS.
It doesn't make you use the gyroscope in it, does it?
No, you have the option. You do have the option, but you do not have to.
Because the gyroscope thing for the 3DS is something that should never be used.
No, you should not. Especially if you're trying to use the 3D as well, you'll just make yourself sick.
Because I think, what was it, Pilot Wings? The Pilot Wings game?
Oh yeah, Pilot Wings Resort, yeah. Man,
you have to use the gyroscope function.
I
God.
I remember Nintendo treating that game like it was a reason to buy the 3DS. They were wrong.
Not so much. For one thing, Pilot Wings is not like the very popular series anymore. I mean, sure, for what was it, Super Nintendo that it originally came out on?
Yeah, it's been a launch system for both that and the 64. And it was
Yeah.
it was
64
launch
is the
window.
one that I remember the most.
I didn't play any of them.
You know what's
literally
odd
never
is
played
I don't think Pilot Wings is on the SNES Classic.
It's
No.
not, because they put good games on there.
Hey, I liked Pilot Wings 64.
Yeah, that's
It
the
was-
one that I played.
It was pointless, but I liked
Oh yeah,
it.
it was a fun time waster.
See, I never played
I
it.
used to like to do the free mode and fly the plane because you could also land and then take off again.
Yeah, and there was parachuting,
Uh-huh.
and I liked landing wrong. Or running into things with my parachute.
Yeah.
You know, the stuff that you do unintentionally in Superman 64, you do intentionally in Pilot Wings. Yeah, there's one game. If they do a N64 Classic, I don't think Superman is going to be on there.
No. Definitely not.
Sadly, you know, the sad thing about the SNES Classic is no LucasArts stuff.
Yeah.
So no Super Star Wars.
What a shame.
No Zombies Ate My Neighbor.
I remember that one.
I'm
Such a good game.
just glad that it's got really good role-playing games on it, in all honesty.
Yeah, the Saga game on there I hear is really good.
Secret of Mana, man. You know, and the thing that's another one that's just like burning my ass right now is like, I'm literally on like several different. I've been bugging the shit out of Square and Nintendo on like Facebook and whatnot. I was like, yeah, it'd be real nice if we get that second Densetsu collection. And then other people are like, yeah, that would be fucking great. We want this, guys. Why aren't you talking about it? And then it's like there's like 40 different comments every time Square announces something on Facebook. That's the comments. Is like, why the hell aren't we getting Seiken Densetsu collection?
Because you're Americans.
They're releasing an iOS port of the remake of Final Fantasy Adventure.
Uh-huh.
Guess how many people were in there saying, fuck this, give us the fucking Seiken Densetsu collection. Like, 90% of the comments thread is like, this is so stupid, just give us the other thing. If you want us to give you money for this, sell us the other thing. Because a lot of people, what they really want is Seiken Densetsu 3, which never came out here. But for whatever reason, Square will not listen to this very simple fact.
Is it translated for us?
In, what, Seiken Densetsu 3 or the remake of Seiken Densetsu 1?
Any of them.
Okay, so Seiken Densetsu 1 and 2 came out in the States. They were Final Fantasy Adventure and Secret of Mana. 3 never came out here, never got translated anything. And that's the reason why people want an American release for the first time, because we've only got a fan translation that you can buy reproduction carts or download, whatever. But, you know, it'd be nice to have a professionally released actual translation from Square, that sort of thing now, you know?
So that's required work to be done.
Yeah, but not much. The actual the person who's directing the remakes or the ports that are coming, that's already out on Switch, has said we could have this out in he said this would not be difficult for us. All they have to do is say yes, and we'll have it out. We want to do it.
And how much time? I mean,
it wouldn't take that long. I mean, you're talking about a translation. Translations aren't the unholy nightmare that they would have been in the 90s, because not only did you have to translate the text, you also had to go in and handpick, and edit it. And like just the process overall is a lot less demanding than it used to be. You know, unlike these stupid GS quests in Xenosaga 2, which I'm so tired of doing them. They're not fun. And I'm doing them because I have less than 5 left. Or I think I may have 5 left. One of them I'm not sure how I'm going to do it because it's going to require me to have 10 million gil to do it. The rewards are actually pretty good, but 10 million gil, or gold, or whatever the hell it actually is in this game. That's a lot of money. Alright, well anyway, I think, anybody else want to say anything else before we close up? Alright. That resounding silence means that this has been yet another lovely Z-Trigger podcast for you this week, and we hope you've had a good time listening to us / watching me play the incredibly mediocre Xenosaga 2. We hope you will join us next week whenever I hopefully am playing something much, much better than Xenosaga 2 and discussing other things than Nintendo's inability to release retro games without making it a pain in the ass, or the Xbox One X being a complete and total overpriced joke. But in the meantime, you can join us on Facebook and Twitter at ZTriggerLive, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, which you have possibly been watching this on. We'd really hope that you're watching this stuff eventually. And, you know, come and check in with us over time, because we're working on getting new content up there and doing more live streaming type stuff whenever I'm not working all the time. And we also have another episode of the Z-Trigger Expanded Universe coming up next week. If all goes according to plan, we're talking about Star Wars again next week.
Yay!
Alright, so yes, until then, we will see you next time, and we hope you have a great week. Good night.
Laters.
Be seeing you.
Alright.
And we're clear.
Alright.
Ooh.
Well, that was a 2-hour discussion on stuff we didn't have anything, written down for.
Told you.
Whenever we're really like Brandon, since we've had such really weird scheduling, over the past couple of weeks, and you haven't been on, we've been actually trying to like focus on very specific topics going into the show.
Mm-hmm.
And it's turned out better discussions than, the shotgunning of random shit.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, it's not like we've had a choice.
Well,
it's not like we're
after E3 we
drowning
did.
on topic. It's not like we're drowning in topics here.
I mean, there was one week we had we had 4 specific topics we did, 3 or 4.
Yeah, that was way before E3.
It was like the week before E3 or 2 weeks before E3. It's been recently enough, but yeah, it's been working out, and we had a good run tonight. We had a lot of decent chatter about stuff, including
I stayed mostly silent because I was just like, they know more than I do.
Oh my god, I hate this stupid quest.
You hate Xenosaga 2?
I really... This game is... Like, Xenosaga 1 is legitimately a very good game. I really liked it. Even though it's, 80% cutscenes. It's a very good game. This game is garbage. They added side quests for this one. And by side quests, I mean busy work. It's hard to grind, and the battle system's not as flexible. Like, you literally have to do a very specific sequence of attacks every time where you don't do damage. And also, the bosses can completely rape you if you are even a slight...
Literally.
I can't beat this game. I've not been able to beat this game yet, and if it wasn't for the fact that I can't kill the final boss, I would not be doing the shit I'm doing.
They literally rape you?
Yes, they did. Skull fucked me. On camera. Broadcasted it on a pirate television network and made people get drunk with, and imagine their hand molding around guns and stuff.
Yeah, very Videodrome.
Yeah, I was going for the Videodrome reference there. They turn you into James Woods in Videodrome. I really like that movie.
If only James Woods was a good person in real life. He's not.
Yeah.
Have you seen what's it called? Did you watch Naked Lunch?
I have not.
You need to. It's
like that was
odd.
That was literally my first Cronenberg film.
Oh.
And I really liked it. I might buy the Criterion someday.
Yeah, and you need to watch Scanners.
I've never seen Scanners either. All I know is the fact that.
So you never saw The Dead Zone?
No, I didn't. He directed Dead Zone?
Yeah, he directed the one with Christopher Walken. Yeah.
Damn, I had no idea. I might have watched it before now had I not known that. Also, I do have a copy of A History of Violence, but I haven't watched it.
I didn't really care for that one that much. I liked the movie he did after that better.
Eastern Promises?
Yeah.
I saw A History of Violence. Not very Cronenberg.
No.
By the way, we are still streaming Z-Trigger Extended Cut.
Where we talk about movies.
Yeah. God, if we stay on much longer, we'll have enough material for another podcast. I think at that point, Brandon would just be like, fuck you, I'm not editing another fucking recording.
It would just go up as raw. There would be no editing. It's like, yep.
Z-Trigger raw and uncut.
Just kidding, it's not porn, it's just movie talk.
Bigger, longer, and uncut.
Yeah.
Like South Park.
Oh, fuck. Where is this damn kid with this stupid fucking dialogue? It's in the other screen. Oh my god. I want to finish this game so that I don't ever have to play it again. And this next GS quest, like they say, you might have to fight the final boss 20 more times to get enough items to complete this quest. I'm like,
woohoo!
Who would do that?
So what SNES games do you have?
Me?
Yeah.
I'll send you a list because it's enough to send you a list.
Okay. I was just thinking you should play one next week.
I have one problem with that.
What's that?
So the way that this device works, and the problem I have with this device is that I can play retro consoles through it and stream just fine. That's not an issue. The issue is that it doesn't play back onto my TV unless the stars are in the right alignment or some shit. Because, okay, so one thing I need to get to be able to do that is an HDMI conversion for AV video.
Mm-hmm.
So because there's a conversion taking place inside the box, it's not reading it as HDMI by the time it gets to the TV. It's still reading it as an AV signal. So it's not converting it at all in that case. Now on some TVs it doesn't matter and it'll still read it. My TV just happens to not do so.
Ah.
But if you want to see my Super Nintendo games and I can try and get it working by then. If you want to play something in particular. Just don't ask for anything sarcastic like I don't know.
Don't put it on the list.
Like Super Ghosts and Goblins?
Yeah, or Super Battleship.
What's wrong with Super Ghosts Goblins?
I don't know, I've never played it.
Fuck that game. It's
plus
too
the fact
hard.
that plus the fact that he doesn't own it.
I don't? I thought I
don't see it up there.
thought I had a copy of that for some reason.
Oh, you actually own Mario's Time Machine.
Yes, I do.
You should play the Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse, because that's apparently a pretty good game.
Yes, it is. It is actually a very fun game. It's not easy, but it's very fun. I actually have several Disney titles from back then.
Yeah, I see you also have, well, you have Timeless Adventures as well.
Mm-hmm. I actually really like the aesthetic of that one, too. It's not as much fun of a game, but the design is very cool. Alright, what do I do with
You
this?
actually do not own Super Mario World?
I do. My mom has it, so it didn't get added to the list whenever.
Well, you have All-Stars, so it's included on that, so.
Actually, it's only certain versions of All-Stars that have that.
Really?
My version of Super All Stars had it. Fortunately, that one probably doesn't work anymore, so...
I mean...
See,
yeah.
I would just buy an old SNES and just buy the games I want off eBay or something, but...
Some of those games are stupid expensive.
Well, not only that, it's just, you never know how long these systems are going to last.
My Super Nintendo is still the same Super Nintendo I got when I was 5. I am very fortunate for it to still be working.
I still need to figure out what's wrong with my NES that makes the picture keep rolling. I think it's the cable, but you know.
I mean, it could be the cable. It could also be the pin adapter. Pin adapter's not hard to change.
You should play Batman Returns. That's one of the few I've actually played.
That game is actually a lot of fun. Brandon and I, long time ago, whenever we were doing the first version of Z-Trigger, we tried to record a Let's Play of that. Sort of like how James and Mike do theirs on Cinemassacre before they were doing it. And because my desktop computer has the dumbest fucking fan in the world, according to Brandon.
It does.
We could not actually get a recording of that to go through.
Huh.
It was really unfortunate.
Was it overclocking it or something?
No, it just has the dumbest fan in the world. I'll have to next time you come around, I'll have to show you the inside of my desktop computer because it has the dumbest fan in the world.
It's a giant cone.
It is.
Okay.
And I looked at that thing, I was like, that doesn't take off. How the fuck does that take off? Who designed that?
That computer, like, it does not like me at all.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
That was the best line in that movie.
Is Mary Poppins cool? Yeah, Mary Poppins is cool.
God, I love that movie.
I'm gonna go see the new Spider-Man on Sunday, I think.
There's a barely existent chance that I'll see that in theaters. Just because, A, money, B, Final Fantasy, C, Joe's not convinced that she wants to see it in theaters. And also we went to see Baby Driver, so...
Yeah, I need to see that one too.
Oh man, it was
and then
really fucking good.
And then I need to see Valerian when it comes out.
I'm
and
super intrigued by that as well.
And I need to see what was it? Atomic Blonde.
Also looks interesting, yep.
That one I'm probably going to skip.
I'm waiting on reviews to decide if I'm going to see it in theaters.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the same with me.
It has the potential to be good, but it also has the potential to suck out loud. And
well,
honestly, I'm more interested in reading the material is based on than watching the movie.
Same director as John Wick, though.
No, it's not the director; it's people involved.
Co-director.
Yeah, he did. He. That's why the action sequences look similar, but ultimately, I don't think it's going to have the same overall vibe and.
Well, I'll see it because it's got John Goodman in it, and that's enough for me.
Come on, game.
Right now, it's getting reviews. So
which movie?
It doesn't come out. Atomic Blonde.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna.
It doesn't come out here until like the end of the month.
I'm gonna wait till Tim flicks for that one. I think.
See, the problem with Spider-Man is that you can't do that. Because it's owned by fucking Disney, and they have their shitty ways.
Oh, yeah.
They have Disney movies everywhere.
And honestly, it's got 94% with it. That's pretty much all its reviews. It's a Marvel movie, made by Marvel. I'd be willing to see it. I saw all the other ones. Fuck, I went and saw Ant-Man, and that was probably the weakest thing they've done.
I do want to see it in theaters.
Yeah.
But the thing is, money, and Joe doesn't want to. I don't think Joe wants to see it in theaters.
Hasn't she seen all the other ones?
Most of them. Oh well, actually, she does not like Spider-Man either.
How do you not like sarcastic, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man?
Good Lord, there's going to be 8 Marvel movies next year.
God damn, that's a lot.
8 Marvel movies or 8 Disney-related movies?
Marvel. Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Venom. Sony's doing that one, but it's still Marvel.
Oh, I don't fucking count those shit, because they're usually pieces of shit.
Yeah, the animated Spider-Man movie, the New Mutants from Fox, and Deadpool 2, and X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Honestly, I don't really look at the Fox ones until I see reviews, because there's never like a middle ground. It's either really good or it's really shitty.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know. The last X-Men was the definition of meh.
Was that
that's what a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't even watched it.
A lot of people talk like it tried to do a period piece, but didn't go full out period piece. And
its plot was just boring.
Well, I mean, how can you take the villain seriously? Look at him. But hey, I mean, I said the exact same thing for Avengers 2, but not by his look, just because of how they really fucked up Ultron. It's like, oh, he's pulling another joke, and another joke, and another. Oh God, you can't even die before doing another joke.
Let's see. Kevin Feige revealed that Avengers 4, which comes out in 2019, will be the end of a 22-movie arc, and that the sequel to Spider-Man: Homecoming will be the start of the next arc.
My
Jesus.
God. They are like Marvel.
And
you got to watch 22 movies to get one story.
And we can just point and laugh at DC.
Yes.
You see, at least with the Marvel thing, it's just, actual Marvel movies is only just a few a year, and it's not confusing.
And they're pretty good movies,
what to
too.
read to go. Yeah, they're good movies, and you're not confused about where to go next. It's like, oh, the next one comes out in May. That's the thing I need to go look at to continue my story. It's not, well, I have 10 titles, and they all have small snippets of information that align with the story I'm trying to read. DC.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so hard to deal with DC's bullshit sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
They're like Nintendo.
They're different than Nintendo.
Yeah,
at least the quality is there for Nintendo.
Too much.
And the quality's there with Nintendo.
Nintendo gives you too little, and
and makes you fucking pay for it.
Yeah, they do.
Oh man, I'm still.
We want $80.
Hey, at least they're giving you 2 controllers this time.
A controller
And
does not cost $20.
And 2 extra feet of cord. Don't forget that.
Yeah, they're giving you more cable too.
Thank you.
Look,
that's something you should have given to us anyway.
Brandon, for me, Star Fox 2 is worth $80 by itself. The rest is just icing on the cake. Because a fucking Star Fox 2 reproduction card is $100.
That's ridiculous.
It's big. Do you want to know why? Do you want to hate?
Because it uses one of the rarest cartridges, period. Anyway.
Yeah.
Because not many games use it, and if I'm not mistaken, is it they use the ones that involve Super Mario RPG?
Yep.
Which is one of the dumbest things ever. It's like, oh, this game is ultra rare. Let's make it rare.
I think another one of the options is Doom. Oh yeah, that's what's going on. Sorry,
All right, guys. I'm going upstairs to take a bath because I was in a hot warehouse all day and I probably stink.
I completely understand where you're coming from there. Alright, man. Well, it was fun tonight, guys. I will see you later. Brandon, I'm cool. I'm cool to chat for a little bit longer if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
Cool. Well, good night, Trent.
Yep.
Laters.
Hi, guys.
See you later.
Bye.
Brandon? Brandon.
Yeah.
Why am I still playing this fucking game?
I don't know, because you're a masochist?
Apparently. Alright, thank you anybody watching the stream. We are ending for tonight. Because I want to talk to Brandon about things that I don't want recorded on my YouTube channel. Good night.